cul-de-sac. Dull, safe, secure, the natural home of the identikit house. But change is afoot. Across the acacia avenues and myrtle groves of Britain, there's a building revolution going on. Our homes are part of our landscape. Some of us choose to live in the remotest corners of the land, or in the comfort of the rural. Some of us find ourselves bound up in the energy and complexity of city life. Others find respite and happiness in the suburbs. Over the last 15 years, I've witnessed how the projects on Grand Designs are shaped by and help shape these four environments. This programme is all about Suburbia, that place that's certainly not the city and is nothing like the countryside. A place where our imaginations can expand. It's the size of 2 semi-detached houses, this. You could put 3 families in there. Look.
Good to have a bit of space, you know, rattle around in.
Where wishes can be granted.
All my life I've envisaged a white house. You see it in all the lovely adverts. We've got one now. And
where things are changing. You see these other chalet bungalows with the rooms in the roof and everything. You come around and go, wow! For some of us, there's only one place to live. Suburbia. For many people, it's suburban neighbourhoods like this that were responsible for so many childhood memories. But of course, the suburb can mean many things. It can suggest images of wife-swapping garden gnomes hosting cheese and wine parties. Many people think of these neighbourhoods as a haven from the chaos of the city and, for that matter, the mud of the countryside. Suburbia is, after all, the place where we can let our dreams unfold unfettered.
There's this dream of, you know, having a cottage in a landscape but still being able to get to the city.
And people do not appreciate how beautiful the suburbs are. They are much greener than people are aware of, and they have so many more trees, so many more hedges. Sacred is the nature.
The values and the ambitions expressed by the people that I meet on Grand Designs are, in reality, no different from those held dear by the homeowners, the builders and developers and the visionaries of the last 100 and even 200 years. You know, the suburban dream may seem like a modern one, but in fact its roots lie in the Industrial Revolution.
In the 1900s, when the cities around the UK were very smoggy, they were dirty, they were overcrowded, from then there was kind of this new ideal. Ebenezer Howard was one of the great garden city visionaries, and they wanted to create better areas outside of the city that were healthier, with cleaner air, where families could thrive.
Early in the 20th century, the Garden City movement rehoused the urban poor in neat, green, spacious housing estates. The middle classes followed when swift, cheap public transport came on stream. Metroland was born, and in the 1930s, over 4 million suburban homes were built, and with them, a new architecture.
The architecture of suburbia is, you have mock Tudor gables, you have leaded light windows, you have hung tiles, you have privet hedges. You quite often had mature trees. It's easy to be dismissive, but of course they're really important. They're echoes of the original arts and crafts movement, wanting to go back to a more bucolic period where we lived, you know, closer to the landscape and we felt more connected to nature.
I think a lot of the early 1930s suburban houses, they had kind of, they were like smaller versions of grander mansions maybe. A lot of the more popular styles were repeated. And then as they got repeated, they got smaller and smaller. So as you move into the 60s and 70s, they got much smaller and more boxy.
In the 1970s, the suburbs began to lose their shine. increased reliance on the car allowed developers to build giant, sprawling, identikit estates. Anything local, special and imaginative went out the window. The suburbs have suffered an identity crisis. In trying to offer the best of the city and the best of the countryside, they've succeeded in neither, and instead offer a stagnating sprawl of boredom. Somewhere to end your days, not begin them. Except for those in the vanguard of change, the people who are showing us how to do it. Those valiant self-builders that I meet on Grand Designs. These pioneers are putting their savings into re-energizing the suburbs with original architecture, investing in space. Bloody Nora, you've excavated, haven't you?
We have. We've discovered Pompeii.
Jeez.
The latest of the Roman baths.
Sometimes a lot of space. This is more of a large cavernous volume. It's huge. And with space, light, of course.
You know those people who suffer from SAD and you've got these light boxes?
Yeah.
This is my light box.
This big. In 2004, I met a couple who wanted to bring a fresh energy to their suburb. David and Greta Iredale weren't the kind to follow the flock. So what is it that you're going to build?
Well, we're going to build a hoof house designed by Peter Hoof. The house is actually manufactured in Germany. It comes over completely finished in prefabricated pieces.
Sounds like an old prefab, but it's state-of-the-art. The sort of building that you just don't see in this country.
The Hoof House Company only manufactures 200 kit houses a year to maintain the engineering quality of what they do. David and Greta's house was designed by Peter Hoof.
Unfortunately, a lot of people do not take the chance to build their own home. But there are a few, and David and Greta are one of these few, who had actually take the risk and the innovation and the desire to build their own home. And Suburbia here in Britain is a perfect place to do that.
Peter Hoof is not far wrong. The plot that David and Greta were lucky enough to own could not be more typically suburban. What is special, what is sacred about the suburban setting that we should be hanging on to? Is it the space between buildings? Is it the greener context?
It's the landscape, it's the trees, it's the green. In this country you have, luckily, not much winter. It's always green. And the houses need to reflect that.
With exemplary German efficiency, David and Greta's large kit home took just 4 days to erect.
It's as if it's landed out of space.
I know, it looks like it's flown in from Germany.
But
it does, doesn't it? With these huge wings.
Yeah.
It's just kind of flown in and gone plonk. This is not boring, safe suburbia. It looks fabulous, I have to say. This is a big house, and it wasn't cheap, £450,000 back in 2004. But it set out to make a 21st century statement, to reinvent a slice of suburbia.
I love this balcony.
It's something about Hoofs, because you have these sloping roofs, you get, to an extent, you get wasted space, but on the other hand, with the balcony, you have the luxury of that space, don't you? You can kind of look down over the dining room. The design, quality and energy efficiency of this hoof house were groundbreaking all those years ago, and they still are. I've come back to see the redoubtable David and Greta to find out how they've overturned suburban complacency with their home. Now, what is it, David, though, about the building that keeps you here?
It's open plan. There aren't any doors into this big room, so you're not cramped, and it's living with this inside.
It's not living in the woodland, isn't it?
Got the outside and the inside, and the lovely silence. I think it's a perfectly built house.
This outstanding house is, I'd contend, a model suburban villa for the 21st century. An inspiration waiting to be recognised.
Over the years, the standard of architecture has gone down and down. Nothing has gone up in any way, shape or form, and that's sad. We walk up and down the road and we give points out of 10.
Yeah. Do you?
We do. And I have to say most of them are in minus figures, truly.
Wow. Many people wouldn't be seen dead living in a suburb, but they're wrong. You see, the suburb is the one place where you can find privacy, where you can live your life in peace and fulfill your fantasies. It is, after all, built from nowhere. And so it's a bit like a blank sheet of paper on which you can write your own story. You can weave your own narrative. The traditional suburb fitted the traditional pattern of working life. The suburb was, if you like, a sort of civilized dormitory. Now, of course, as our patterns of life and patterns of work are changing, so also the design and layouts of our suburbs and suburban houses are changing too. In 2009, I met Catherine Tyler, who was brought up in a suburban family home that came with a surprise package.
I think the thing that was amazing was when we saw the deeds, we saw that there was an extra plot of land.
You said, Mum, you always want to build a house. How about this? That's how it came about.
Catherine, a renowned designer, conceived the building, managed the project, and oversaw the installation of every detail. This is your nerve centre.
Yeah.
You've got everything here, from lighting design to architectural design to product design to interior design, yeah? And it's all you.
Well, it's a good opportunity, isn't it? I only get to build a house once.
This Scandinavian-flavoured home was pure 60s, the last great era of suburban design. This is large enough for, an intimate dinner.
Yeah.
It's lovely out here.
It's not so blowy. For a moderate £290,000, Catherine built an open-plan home that exploded the conventional 3-up, 2-down suburban formula. Doesn't need to be any bigger, does it? I mean, it suits you, it would suit a family.
Yeah.
Certainly suit a party.
Yeah, absolutely.
No,
It's just a proper, decently sized house.
It's interesting really how living in suburbia has changed. When suburbia started, it was really purely about living in your house and then commuting to your job. But the way that we want to live now is the idea of the big open plan living area. But also there is this idea of working from home. Look after your kids, have a much more flexible lifestyle, all in this sort of lovely green suburban setting.
In 2011, self-builders Lisette and Nigel Offley had designed on building just such an expansive, multifunctional house on the banks of the River Thames.
I don't want to go backwards and do something that's pastiche or a copy of something that's already been done.
Yeah.
This is apparently the 21st century.
They planned to knock down the existing rotting wooden structure and replace it with a new radical design, even though they knew that they'd ruffle feathers in this traditional suburban setting.
Things change. I just think that we're leading the way. People will eventually knock some of these houses down.
They didn't want to repeat what everyone else had done on the riverbank. They wanted the modern dream, open-plan living for entertaining, and plenty of live workspace. In the finished house, there wasn't a corridor in sight. Lisette and Nigel have been living here now for 4 years, and I'm back to see if their space-grabbing and attention-grabbing home has proved itself as a groundbreaker. I'd forgotten how big this space is, how broad and wide, because you're pushing, aren't you, the building right to the max. It gives the impression that you've got a room and a kitchen kind of bolted onto a miniature Guggenheim gallery.
It could have been smaller, to be fair.
What could have been smaller?
Well, everything could have been smaller. Yeah.
It's a good point. It's a good point. Because you rarely look up. What you appreciate is what it creates, which is this massive amount of light that just floods into this place.
And space.
One important thing actually here is also you've got a garden, and that's a wonderful thing to have the view, but you also have this more tame and I suppose recognisable space.
Exactly, and we'll often have dinner or barbecue out there, and then it is just one effectively long space.
how could we live in the modern world? They're a bit like phones, aren't they, bifold doors? Can you imagine a time before bifold doors? I can't. So do you see yourself as pioneers? Do you think you're making a contribution to a place?
I think we have. If I'm honest, I don't think that's how I started. It came out of wanting to build a fabulous home and something that we could really enjoy.
For me, it was just about an expression of my personality and my character.
That can be a dangerous thing, though, can't
my
it?
Creativity.
Yeah.
Maybe, but if that's who you are, that's what you do.
At its most extreme, this pursuit of making personal statements can seem excessive. But the architectural adventure is always personal, and there's always something to learn from it.
The suburbs are a place where the middle classes thrive. You know, I mean, it's where our, consumerist society started, if you like. There is an element of wanting to show off in suburbia. There is an element of keeping up with the Joneses. There's nothing wrong with it. There really isn't. The whole point about it is trying to improve your own life and looking what other people have got and trying to give yourself kind of a better opportunity for living.
The suburban self-builders I've met have all made a personal contribution to the indulgent character of where they live. Good grief.
It's fabulous, isn't it?
It is, Deborah, it is fabulous. It's like being suddenly in a TV commercial. It's very glamorous.
Houses tend to start looking a little bit like their owners, a bit like kind of dogs and owners. So there's always a reflection of, the character of the clients in the houses.
This is really like being in a film.
In the suburbs, people have just a bit more space to be able to have a bit more fun.
And spend just a little too much cash on the essentials.
Yep, take it out, please do. Yep, we can.
Bloody hell. So how much did it cost?
£1,000.
£1,000? In the suburbs, if you've got it, flaunt it.
I have a steam cooker, a conventional cooker, 2 warming drawers.
Yes.
And actually a third small warming drawer for my coffee cups.
Who is going to stop you indulging yourself? That, I don't understand. That is not art.
Lovely.
Oh, I'm sorry, that is like watching an elephant piss.
Oh, you spoil that now.
Or who's going to limit your decadent cravings? Get this all together a bit more, bling.
I think spa is the word you were looking for.
Okay, yeah, bling spa. There's one part of the grand designed suburban home I've seen over the last 15 years where that sense of indulgence really pays off. Where decadence meets the architectural setting. The garden.
What do people really love about the suburbs? I'd say it's their garden. I mean, the British love gardening, and the suburbs gives you your opportunity to have your own garden, your own patch of land.
With huge expanses of glass at the back of their houses, the new suburbanites have established a whole new vernacular, the garden room, connecting you to your sovereign realm, your slice of England. Space, light, connection with the outdoors, with friends and family, can be united in one indeterminate, ambiguous space.
You can bring everyone together, all of your neighbours, in your garden. And it's sort of partly showing off, but it's partly a generosity, isn't it? It's partly a sort of wanting to give everyone a good time.
Big old door there, look at that.
It is, yes.
But it slides into the wall, I like that, so it disappears. So you're just left with this large opening. Isn't that lovely? The lifeless suburbs may be the obvious place for our self-builders to inject some architectural glamour and modernity with their new-build projects. But these feisty individuals will take on existing tired buildings too, like the humble bungalow. Single-storey living has answered the national desire for cheap home ownership since the 1860s, when the first British bungalows appeared at the seaside. In 2009, I took the ferry to the Isle of Wight, spiritual home of the bungalow, to meet architectural designer Lincoln Miles and his partner, artist Lisa Traxler.
We just love this piece of land here. It's just beautiful. It's got ancient woodland around it. It's something magical about it. And we could see past the 70s bungalow.
What we were drawn to immediately were, in a way, good old-fashioned charm. It sort of harked back to a yesterday year, perhaps, but moreover, it was its open planness. The rooms were quite generous. It was enlivened with big windows. In truth, actually, it was back in the day quite a modern little house for the family.
Lincoln and Lisa loved that vintage bungalow. They wanted to keep as much of it as possible, but they did pull down the old garage to make some new space.
It's completely overwhelming just to see the devastation of it, but at the same time a huge excitement as well, because it's all moving forward. I feel quite good about this now.
Because we had the space, you know, it allowed us to completely rip that box and re-look at it, because it's really simple construction. So modifying a Victorian house to modifying a 1970s bungalow, piece of cake. The template's there waiting to be expanded.
Lincoln converted the bare bones of this identikit bungalow into something personalised and contemporary. There were a whole host of decisions to make along the way, though.
Curiously, from here, the thing that strikes you is the roof of the bungalow.
It's going
That's
to
one of our
be,
rethinks, isn't it?
yeah. We're putting slate on the new build.
Yeah.
And so it seems that we should do the same on the roof.
So it goes?
Yeah, unless you can convince me otherwise.
It just seemed to me that the idea of nostalgia and connection to the building and your history of use of it was so strong
Yeah.
that you were looking for ways to try and retain connections with it.
You just might be right.
But I was wrong. Lincoln replaced the roof with slate in the end, and his ugly duckling 70s bungalow grew and transformed into a clever suburban retreat.
So one slides in front of the other. What about this one? Does this slide back as well?
That goes back that
Can I
way.
do this one?
That goes back the other way.
There you are. See, look. It looks like an open-air kitchen. You know what I mean, with a canopy. It doesn't look at all British. It looks quite Australian. Very, very open.
I love you for that.
Yeah, I bet you do.
From unloved suburban bungalow to loved suburban bungalow in one clever move. So how do we save our suburbs from mediocrity? Well, the answer is, of course, to pursue excellence and inspiration, to take the lead from those pioneers and adventurers in the built environment, the self-builders. Because all of us, of course, instinctively recognise a well-made and a well-designed thing. We recognise quality. And if we do that, if we take their lead, then we have a chance to reinvent the suburb. The architecture critic Hugh Pearman recently suggested that the city was the natural home of contemporary architecture, whereas actually the countryside is the place where only the pastiche is tolerated. But what of the suburbs, eh? Well, I think they are the breeding ground of experimentation, a place where we can pretend to be either traditional or modern, where we can play, where we can dig up the front lawn and plant vegetables and live the good life, or we can install a hot tub and a home cinema. It is the place where the planners finally cut us some slack, and where we can, if we dare, be radical. Radical in materials, radical in size, and most of all, radical in form.
The suburban ideal is that you can play a different set of design games.
There is something excessive about some of these suburban grand designed homes, as if the cube was somehow the wrong shape to live in.
And it's going to be unusually shaped.
Just a series of decagons.
Of course. Just tripped off your tongue. So what's a decagon?
Oh, I'm not very good at maths, don't ask. How many sides again?
10.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
These self-builders think we stick-in-the-mud cube lovers are missing out on something.
We've got a long corridor right the way down the back here.
They think we should all have houses with curving ground plans and irregularities. But for some people, the radical plan is just too much. Take Peter and Chard Birkin, who embarked on their perfectly round house in the suburbs.
Andrew, our architect, sent me an email saying, I've sent you an image, I think you'll like it, and it was a perfect circle. I took one look at it and thought, that's great, it's what nature would do. Nature doesn't grow squares.
But right from the start, Peter had a problem.
Do you like it?
Oh, totally rejected it from the start, didn't you?
I like everything square
yeah,
and line, straight.
Somehow I've got to find a way of making Shard love it as well. In fact, I made a promise to you. You will love this house one day.
Yeah, one day.
That day may yet be on the horizon. Peter, however, put his all into this house. And it paid off. Peter had the space and the time to craft this roundhouse, and it has become a genuine addition to the language of suburban architecture.
It's magnificent. It's almost as though a giant wooden spaceship has landed on top of Stonehenge, you know, interlocked with it.
It's amazing how they're locked together. It just looks right.
It does. Every time I've come here, I've seen Peter take on a job. I thought, he's not going to finish this. He has built you a house.
Yes, very good. Very good effort, isn't it?
A good effort, oh, thank you.
This is like some beautiful piece of automotive design. You know, this beautiful, curved, stylish shape.
All beautiful things are curved, Kevin.
Yeah.
The remarkable suburban efforts of our self-builders are all attempts at revitalizing this liminal place between the city and the countryside. But these attempts mean change, the absolute enemy of suburban stasis, where neighbour can rise against neighbour. Some restrain themselves to a light sprinkling of tutting.
Well, I think anything that's slightly different is always a challenge, and whether it would fit in.
Others are more critical.
I wouldn't even start considering it.
My problem is I'm not a very modern sort of house person.
Or they can be full-blown indignant.
I'm disappointed, I'm angry, but you know, it's a free world, they can buy and build what they like.
Be warned, do not take on the folk of Suburbia lightly. Lisette and Nigel clearly didn't have to guess what their neighbours thought of their plans.
It will stick out like a sore thumb down here, it really will.
It's like going to a Cotswold village and saying, let's build a three-storey block of flats. It is so out of character. They have taken no notice of anyone. They've been very selfish. I really am upset about it. So I can't be happy. I hope it floods on them.
I wonder if a few years later the neighbours have calmed down.
Okay, what do you say to all those people, those residents who you managed to piss off, who kind of, you know, say this is too big, too modern, too wrong, it doesn't fit, it's out of the wrong century, you know, why couldn't we carry on having what we had before?
Well, you know, a lot of people have said how much they like it and how well it fits in to the area, how it blends in. And I wasn't expecting that, given that the hoo-ha getting this far. Of course, there will always be people for whom it is not their favourite design.
I'd love to think people were looking and being really inspired by this, and not doing this, but doing something really interesting with some of the spaces up and down the river.
But can you do it? Design a suburban home that is architecturally modern and powerful, but which doesn't ruffle the neighbours' feathers. I think you can. Part of what makes a building architecture is its ability to respond to where it is, for the design to somehow reflect its context. And a great building can do more than that, because in responding to its context, it can create a new context. Its energy, its identity can start a revolution that sort of magically ripples out and can transform an area. A bog-standard estate home wasn't what Lucy Fairweather and Nat McBride wanted, even though their plot was in classic suburban chalet bungalow land.
We want something that looks, you know, beautiful and sharp.
It's got to be a sharp contemporary design where Nat can work, but without being disturbed. Where during the day I can be with the children, not sort of far away from them when I'm in the kitchen.
It feels like a home. It's, you know, it's not. I don't want a stark, modernist, empty, clinical thing.
Nat wanted this house to be contemporary in every way, thoughtfully designed, ecologically sustainable, super insulated, and in line with his green principles. But all the plans were put on hold when Nat discovered he had cancer. Just 5 months later, he died. A year later, Lucy decided to carry on building the house for herself and the children.
I have to ask Lucy, why are you doing this?
Because actually I couldn't bear not to.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it that powerful?
Yes.
That obvious?
She was, thank goodness, not alone in her task, helped all along the way by family friend and architect Jerry Tate.
This is my sitting room.
All of it, look.
I know, it's enormous.
Yeah.
It was never all about the space and layout. This house was to be as environmentally friendly as possible.
It is actually about Nat, because it is what he was the one who researched all these technologies and was enthusiastic about them.
Yeah.
I want a warm house that isn't going to cost me a fortune to run. He wanted to save the planet.
Keeping Nat's principles in mind, Jerry's design balanced Lucy's wish for a modern suburban lifestyle with low running costs.
The question, I guess, of the build was, can you build a 3-bedroom chalet bungalow in a suburban setting and it be representative of 21st century ways of living, which is possibly quite a difficult problem. Obviously there was a functional thing that we solved at Lucy's, which was the problem of occupying the loft. A lot of chalet bungalows are actually bad conversions of bungalows, and you end up with these sort of weird triangular spaces at the top and the sides. So in Lucy's we opened up the roof to try to use all of the available space.
What Jerry did was to deconstruct the suburban chalet bungalow, dragging it into the 21st century. Brilliantly insulated and with a distinctive roof shape with a centre parting, which provided light, height and space inside.
What you've done with that window is engineer a brilliant view. It's lovely, that tall window, and you can only get it really with very tall rooms.
When I went back to see the lived-in home a couple of years later, I could see just how well this suburban chalet bungalow provided for its occupants. Remarkable from the outside, clever on the inside, and all for the moderate cost of £200,000.
And having walked past all these kind of service areas, you know, that kind of gets you into the of the building, doesn't it? This kind of
the good bit.
Yeah, the good bit, the broad space, the high space. It's semi-open plan, semi-open section. Very nice, very lovely. It looks like you just eat pizza here from the takeaway.
No, I do lots of cooking.
Do you?
Yes, I
I
do.
don't see any marks of that.
I love it, and so I look after it.
Yeah.
This
Good.
is my special place.
How well is the building received now?
It's become a bit of a landmark. It might sound superficial, but I love the fact that it's a really cool house. I like the fact that people turn around the corner and are slightly taken aback. But I mean, I have got a pretty impressive house for a fraction of what it would cost me to buy another impressive house around here. I feel excited coming home to it every night. I mean, I'm really proud of it.
And so she should be. This is truly an exemplar for future living. If all our chalet bungalows could be like this, we'd be wresting them from our grandparents' grasp.
If you had a retrofit package, which was like putting a woolly hat on all these bungalows, a new woolly hat with super insulation and lovely bedrooms in it, and you know a really well designed interior, I'm sure it'd be a fantastically popular package. You could roll it out across the country. A new Green Deal for chalet bungalows would be brilliant.
Suburbia most definitely has a proud past. And now we can begin to see the green shoots of its future. The most important freedom to recognise in the suburb is the freedom to design. Now, suburbs tend to be universal places. They tend to not have that distinctive sense of place. That's not to say we shouldn't be incorporating a sense of place into new suburbs. We should. They desperately need it. It does mean that we can also, however, revisit and reinvigorate our existing suburbs, our no-topias, with a renewed, fresh approach to architecture, with a sense of confidence and vigour that reflects the 21st century. The powerful ideas which fueled Suburbia, things like garden cities, the arts and crafts movement, Metroland, they're 100 years old now. We need fresh inspiration. And some communities are providing that. They are making suburbs and building them on the principles of resilience, resourcefulness, and sharing. It was way back in the dying embers of the 20th century that I first saw what suburban self-builders could achieve together. On the outskirts of Brighton, I met the Hedgehog Cooperative, who were building their own timber frame houses.
This is my favourite job on the whole building site. I really like doing it, so I was very pleased to be able to do my own.
The houses were based on the designs of self-built guru Walter Siegel. One of the founder members was Paul Crouch.
It was deliberately designed for people with no sort of existing carpentry skills. It's very attractive, really, on a practical level.
None of the Hedgehog Co-op had ever had the kind of income necessary to buy a house of any sort, let alone one with plenty of space.
Today we've been putting up the last 4 houses worth of frames. Means that plot 1 is now with frame, which is good. It means that's my house, so it's nice to be able to see my house going up a little bit. Yeah, it's a good feeling.
But by getting together and sharing the work, they built themselves homes, and in so doing, built a new community. What Paul and the Hedgehog Co-op were doing back then was way ahead of its time, inspired by a 1960s Danish idea, co-housing.
Co-housing is a model of housing where people will come together because they choose to live together with their neighbour. They want to know their neighbour. The kids all know each other. There's less isolation, there's less loneliness, but more, it's communal. It's community living together like we all used to.
It's great that we're going to be living next door to each other.
What's even greater is they're all our best friends now. It's just turned into an enormous great family. It's fantastic. Couldn't have been more perfect, really.
I would say that we have to work cohesively as a cooperative. You can start to build a community of people, not based on any sort of particularly complex set of understandings, but just the fact that you know that you've built your own house and you've been through the same experience.
12 years on, I went back to see the houses that halted urban sprawl in its tracks and gave the self-builders all the virtues of suburban living by doing it together. How many of the households that moved in are still in those same houses?
All of them.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, no, you would be utterly crazy to leave here.
And having shared in the building of each other's homes, the bonds in this community were as strong as steel.
Not a lot of teenagers have had parents who've done this, you know, and created not only the buildings, but the community.
Community self-built is not for everybody. You know, there's plenty of people that either couldn't do it or wouldn't want to do it, and that's fine. But I do think that it's much underappreciated. I think it could be being done much more because the social benefits are massive.
How long do you stay for?
Cut me out in a box.
Seriously?
I don't want to move from here.
But the landscape of our suburbs has barely changed. In the UK, we've hardly picked up on these progressive signals, and over the past 20 years, we've witnessed, if anything, housing that is ever more uniform. You have to leave the country to see some of the bigger examples of exciting suburban architecture. You have to go to places like Holland, where self-builders are becoming the developers. Now here's the thing. That building is the same as that building, as the grey metal one behind it is the same as this one. They're identical, except that is clad in pale timber. Over there, that's in dark timber. The grey metal building is clad in some form of metal, or you can have it in African slate effect brick. The point is, there is uniformity here, but there is also choice. This is Almere, a suburban haven magicked out of Holland's reclaimed land. All of the houses and apartments here are self-built. When it's finished in 15 years' time, it'll house tens of thousands of people. 30 years ago, this place didn't exist. So, what is the answer? Do you invite a developer in to simply create a massive sprawl? No, of course not. Do you create lots of developers in? Yeah, well, maybe, because then you get a bit more variety. Or do you ask thousands of developers to come in, as they've done here, and each build their own home? Now, that is the way to create diversity. That's the way to make a place. These are ambitious plans to allow 3,000 homes to be built by the people themselves, building exactly what they want, not what a monolithic developer thinks they want. But could all that happen here in the UK, where mass developer sprawl continues to dominate? There is a chance, if the ingenuity and creativity of those individual grand designers can be harnessed on a community scale. Oh, this is almost shocking, this place, compared to these traditional streets of red brick houses. This place is just such an abundance of colour and texture and materials and greenery. This is not Holland, it's Bristol. It's as though they've forgotten to put in the privet hedges and the walls and picket fences and the electric gates. Where, despite the conservatism and scepticism of UK mass house building, change has begun, even if it's on a very small scale. Ashley Vale is a truly pioneering project. If a group of local residents hadn't stepped in 15 years ago, it would have been a standard suburban housing estate built by one developer. Jackson Moulding is one of the founding fathers of this self-built community.
The site came up for sale back in 2000.
What was it then?
So it was an old scaffolding site, 2 acres. The people that lived nearby in the existing houses didn't want a conventional developer housing project on this site. And it was like, wow, here might be an opportunity to be involved in something. We got together in a group, maybe 12 people, in someone's living room and went, okay, here's a site. What can we do with it? It's got a price tag of about $750,000. How can the community get together and do something with that site?
Ashley Vale is far from urban sprawl with identikit boxes. The self-builders weren't limited by a book full of rules. They were just given a pallet of materials and a 10-metre height restriction. Apart from that, they had carte blanche. It isn't developer built, it isn't spec built, it is individual households, each expressing their own ideas within actually what is a very loose master plan and a very loose design guide.
Yeah.
And yet there's a fantastic coherence with all that jumble, isn't there? There's a character to this place.
That diversity is what brings that character. You know, you look and go, well, I'd love to have that feature in my home, I'd love to live in that, but oh God, I wouldn't want to live in that. That's what's great about the space. And that ability for people to be involved in the design of the place they're going to live, because they can really influence it over what's important to them. You know, if they want lots of light, they kind of put big windows in. If they don't want very much light, small windows. Or if they want to have tall space, or whatever's important for them.
As a result, all the houses are personal and distinctive. Hello, John. Good to meet you. Thank you. How are you? Very well. John Brockwell customised every inch of his home.
When we came together, we didn't really have much of an idea. So we were all coming from quite a novice background. Ideas were put on the table and people thought, oh, I like that, I'm going to incorporate that.
Yeah.
And so through that process, I think we created designs which took the best from everyone's ideas.
So what are the best ideas in this building?
Well, the one I was specifically thinking of was living up on the first floor.
Upside down living.
Upside down.
Yeah.
That way you get the light, you get the views.
Does a project like this help in a way catalyse a wider area? So in the surrounding neighbourhood, do you see that social glue extending? Do people say to you, well, since you've come, it's meant the post office can be kept open?
I think the local community's benefited. Previously it was a scaffold yard, so of course it's brought people in an interesting community together. Going back to how it's benefited my life, I've now got more time and belonging in the community.
Yeah, well you can't buy that.
No, you can't buy that.
Community self-built projects like these are, I believe, the future of suburban planning. They bring together people in collaboration, in a willingness to learn from the great architectural examples of our self-built pioneers, and in a belief in making places feel special. It is a great irony that we have connected the word suburb and sprawl to make this terrible phrase suburban sprawl, whereas in fact sprawl is just that. It's houses laid out with no sense of conviction and no connection to place, whereas the suburbs have always had both of those, both conviction and a sense of place. You know, of all the places we can choose to live, I think our suburbs have the potential for the greatest inspiration, the greatest livability, the greatest sustainability. The suburbs are not dead. Long live the suburbs. More and more of us are leaving the city. The countryside's becoming an exciting place to live.
Look at that roof. Starship Enterprise.
I think what it does say is that you don't have to farm in a certain way, and you don't have to live in a certain way if you're a farmer.
That is your main attraction, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is where worlds collide, where engineering and steel meet landscape, and it's beautiful.
Next Thursday, the untold story of the power struggle behind the monarchy, Prince Philip, the plot to make a king at 9. But coming up, will the moon be honey, and any smooching for the couples married at first sight? 5 weeks living with a stranger starts next.